Hi, Deep Recapped is here. Today, we talk about an Indian movie called Barfi starring Ranbir Kapoor, Ileana, and Priyanka Chopra. Shruti is the daughter of a wealthy family who has just moved to this small town and watching the man who leaves like the wind, and she has lost her mind for a long time. At this time, Shruti did not know that fate had already tied their future lives together. Barfi is born deaf. He can't speak and can't hear anything. But he is optimistic by nature and never complains about the arrangement of fate. Barfi took the train as usual and snatched the children's snacks, but Shruti in the back saw it all. But soon, Barfi saw Shruti in the mirror. The moment he looked back at Shruti, Barfi was utterly heartbroken. But before his wink flew past, Shruti noticed something strange. The next second, Barfi was knocked to the ground. Barfi, ignoring the pain in his body, quickly appeared behind Shruti, relying on his familiarity with the terrain. Unfortunately, Shruti only found him when he was picking up things. Barfi unabashedly complimented Shruti's looks, then slipped his hand into the collar. Rejected, he is not discouraged but trails closely behind Shruti. Shruti had just sat down in a restaurant when Barfi came up. His arrogant expression seemed to say, "You can't escape, I will definitely chase you." Barfi expresses his love to Shruti. Shruti raises her hand with the ring and says she is engaged. "You are wasting your time." Barfi left amid the laughter of the two girls. Soon, the waiter sent a note, and this Barfi appeared on the opposite clock tower. The message says, "I set the time to 15 minutes ago, if we never met, if I never confessed to you, if you have a new friend in Barfi." And just like that, Shruti accepted what Barfi said. In the days that followed, Barfi hit like a gust of wind, and in the blink of an eye. Shruti's life was no longer ordinary and boring. And she didn't realize that Barfi had taught him how to live and take risks. Shruti learned the most crucial moment from Barfi that the greatest danger in life is not at all dangerous. Gradually, the relationship between the two is getting closer, and Shruti will take the initiative to find Barfi on a date. Shruti's hand took the engagement ring off and threw it into the lake. When Shruti looked surprised, Barfi took out his straw-woven crew and tied it affectionately to Shruti's finger. During the play, the two got closer and closer, and then she took the initiative to kiss him. Shruti's mother had already noticed all this. He took Shruti to a construction site and pointed to one of the men, saying, "Fortunately, I didn't marry him. Otherwise, your father was a lumberjack." On the other hand, Barfi got up early, dressed up, and arrived at Shruti's home. He was here to propose, but Shruti's expression was full of regret at this time, and a man pinched her cheek dotingly. He took back his marriage proposal, and he didn't forget to send his blessings when he left. Seemingly calm, he couldn't even open the umbrella after going out. Then Shruti held the umbrella for him, and the old bike chain fell off. Looking at the Mercedes in front, Barfi said, "This is the life you want." Fate played a joke on him. Lying on the bed, his soul had been taken away. But at this time, his father had an accident and collapsed in the living room. Barfi's father suffered from kidney failure, and only surgery could save his life. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough money to pay for the surgery, so he approached his father's boss to ask for wages. The other party showed no mercy. Then, suddenly, when he saw the girl upstairs, he had a bold idea. He decides to kidnap the girl who grew up with him to raise money for the surgery for his seriously ill father. The girl's name is Jhilmil, from a privileged family, but she suffers from severe autism, and only Barfi was willing to play with her since she was a child. The shoes thrown high outside the window signify the meetings. A habit that has been maintained for 20 years. Barfi bought a coma potion from a friend and secretly tested it on his friend. The effect was excellent. He infiltrated Jhilmil's house. In fact, Jhilmil was kidnapped first. In the hospital, his father was in critical condition. Barfi had to buy a toy gun, disguise it, and rob the bank, but the robbery was very smooth. On the run, Barfi saw the kidnapped Jhilmil. So he redeemed Jhilmil with the stolen money. Jhilmil followed closely behind him, never leaving. As a playmate since childhood, she trusted Barfi, and she drank the medicine without any doubt. While sleeping, Jhilmil's hand clasped Barfi's little thumb tightly. Barfi made a ransom note overnight and sent it to Jhilmil's house. However, when Jhilmil woke up, what she saw was not Barfi. She collapsed instantly, crying and screaming like crazy. Fortunately, Barfi arrived in time, and Jhilmil slowly calmed down. While waiting for the ransom, Barfi did everything to make Jhilmil happy. But she didn't know that she was just what he used in exchange for the ransom. The day of the business of ransoms is approaching. And officers are deployed ahead of time around the point of interaction. Barfi took advantage of the chaotic crowd and took the ransom with ease. When he arrived at the hospital, his father had already passed away. After cremating his father, he sent Jhilmil back. Seeing the back of Barfi leaving, Jhilmil was very reluctant. Police had long noticed Barfi, who robbed banks and kidnapped him. When escaping, Jhilmil blocked Barfi's way, and looking at the police officer chasing behind him, Barfi had to flee with Jhilmil. Barfi decides to live in another city, but Jhilmil is like a shadow of him, and he can't get rid of it. Many things happened along the way. They took care of each other and accompanied each other. Barfi sawed the street lamp frantically and then used his feet to measure where the street lamp fell. The girl next to him grabbed the corner of his clothes and remained motionless. At this moment, he was sure that the girl was his future wife because, in the previous test, none stood motionless at all. Seeing Barfi again, Shruti finds that she still loves him. But when she was about to approach Barfi, Jhilmil appeared before her. Jhilmil is innocent and kind, but from their eyes, the long-haired woman indeed loves her lover. For the first time, Jhilmil quietly left. Seeing that Barfi didn't notice him, Jhilmil lost further and further until he disappeared. Jhilmil was lost, and Barfi searched the town but couldn't find Jhilmil. Unwittingly, Shruti called the police. The officers arrived quickly. This time, Barfi was no longer lucky, and he was caught. Jhilmil's father beat Barfi like crazy. Since the previous kidnapper was not caught, Jhilmil's father bought the police and wanted to convict Barfi and go to jail. The kind police officer told Shruti the news, and she no longer hesitated. Faced with her husband's threats, Shruti still decided to testify for Barfi. Luckily, Barfi was released successfully. But, just when Shruti felt that he could finally be with him, Barfi went crazy looking for clues about Jhilmil. He was like a lost soul. With Shruti's help, they came to a nursing home. Barfi finds the dean with great anticipation, but the dean says Jhilmil is not here, but Barfi soon discovered something was wrong. The dean's erratic eyes and trembling hands made Barfi realize that the dean must be lying. After frantically searching, he was chased out by the security guard, so he had to take off his shoes and throw them high. After a long time, Barfi threw all the windows, none of them opened. Just when Barfi was reluctant to leave, a window was pushed open, and Barfi's name was shouted frantically. Shruti could have chosen not to hear, but she told Barfi anyway. When he turned around, Barfi did not forget to fix his hair. Seeing Shruti appear, Jhilmil stood firmly in front of Barfi to say he was mine and no one could take it away. Some people miss it and miss it forever. Shruti chose to forget and devote all her energy to the cause of the deaf. She did not choose to remarry. You will meet many people in your life, none will wait for you in place, and none will remain the same because the love you missed can no longer return to the way it used to be. After all, the person you ignore is no longer the person it used to be. Love comes, goes, and comes again. When you go, don't resist, don't give up, and love this love with all your heart, because you don't know when the love will leave, and it's too late to say goodbye.